Hello, I'm Yoko, and welcome back to Year 4 of my GalaxyClan series. If you haven't seen my previous videos in the series, I recommend checking out the playlist to get caught up with the lore of these guys, which should be linked below or in a card above. With that said, the first thing that happened this year was GalaxyClan went to battle with CreekClan, and I made myself a generator for how that battle went, and I drew all of the events. So, warning, if you don't want to see cats fighting each other with canon-typical events that can happen in the actual books, including fatal casualties that might happen, but still want to hear how the battle went, then close this tab until I say, let's go over the cats in StarClan, so you can just listen to it without actually seeing the visuals. With that warning, I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll be describing the battle like a bird's-eye narrator of sorts. Now, on to our CreekClan battle. Sandstar stands with a challenging glare, waiting to see if Kestrel Star will admit to the truth of Duskcloud's death. Kestrel Star only stares back, defiantly waiting. Sandstar calls his clan to battle and everyone runs to attack. Stoneleaf immediately rushes and attacks the warrior Smallfoot. He quickly overpowers him and Smallfoot is forced to retreat. Meanwhile, Odd is engaged in battle with Daisy Spring, where she fights bravely and sneaky blows when her guard is down. Stoneleaf has moved on to another cat and deals a killing blow to the inexperienced warrior Kenny. As he looks at her body, he thinks of Duskcloud and how this whole battle is because of his selfish actions. Stoneleaf is conflicted but finds he doesn't feel as bad as he probably should. Twigclaw got ambushed on his blind side by the cruel Cinderclaw, who forced him to retreat. But as Cinderclaw smugly watched, Blue Light rushed in and attacked him, forcing him to retreat the battle as well. Waterfoot had Shrewpatch on the defensive and went to attack her until Burdockfoot showed up protecting her daughter. With them together, Waterfoot retreated elsewhere onto the battlefield. The strange Cherryclaw seemed to enjoy toying with the inexperienced Bat, who ran away scared despite no visible wounds. Burdockfoot is then caught off guard by Rowan and Soft, who ambushed her, attacking her together and badly injuring her shoulder as she struggled against them both. Whiskerheart showed up to help, attacking Soft and standing back-to-back with Burdockfoot to cover her. Burdockfoot is grateful and puts her past anger aside, ready to fight side by side. Ravenspot is being attacked by Waterfoot and struggling until Blue Light shows up, dragging her off him and providing backup. Cricket Flower found the CreekClan deputy Yellowhollow and attacked him violently. Even as Yellowhollow tried to retreat, Cricket Flower still got more scratches and bites in, and while he escaped, these injuries led to Yellowhollow's death later that day. As Cricket Flower watched him limp away, a cat saw what he had done. This cat was Yellowhollow's daughter, Broken Tail. And I'm pausing this battle for a second because yes, one of CreekClan's random warriors is named Broken Tail, and like the one in the canonical books, she is bloodthirsty and also the daughter of the leader. Just wanted to point that out, and back to the battle commentary. Angry at how he attacked her father, she charged at him and went for the neck, killing Cricket Flower. Feeling justified in her actions, unaware of her brother's death, Hopwhisker was busy fighting the more experienced warrior pair and holding her own. Cinderpetal and Stoneleaf see the CreekClan leader, Kestrel Star, seemingly distracted. Kestrel Star is ambushed as she was processing the news of how badly her mate Yellowhollow was injured, and she is pinned down. Once she is released, she calls for retreat of her warriors. Cinderpetal watches as, in his eyes, he and Stoneleaf caused this win. He looks over excitedly and nuzzles into Stoneleaf in celebration. Stoneleaf doesn't quite know how to feel, but lets him, and for now, the battle has been won. Hope you liked that, and that it wasn't too long, but that was just the start of this year, and now it's time to go over the cats in StarClan. First up being Cricket Flower, who died in the battle. He died so young at only 17 moons old, and I was sad to see him go so fast. But since beyond that, he died before I even technically started skipping moons in the game, there's nothing really new to say this year. So I'm going to go over some of the other possibilities in that battle generator real quick. I made possibilities of cats that had more violent natures being able to kill in the battle, either accidentally or straight up on purpose. Cricket Flower being bloodthirsty put him on that list. I also had a bonus option for the potential Cricket Flower being evil development, but since that didn't pop up, I'll just tell you what could have happened in an alternate universe. Cricket Flower had a small possibility of finding Whiskerheart on the outskirts of the battle and secretly killing her. Either getting away with it or getting caught by his horrified mother. But since that didn't happen and his only violent action was him going too hard on a cat during a battle that, in his view, was about avenging his dad's murder, I'm gonna say he'd be allowed in StarClan. But yeah, nothing new to say, he just had a short, angry life, and honestly, he lost his tail and then his dad was murdered, so I don't blame him too much for being angry. However, the next cat in StarClan is, unfortunately, our senior medicine cat, Poppy Wish, who died on the very last moon of this year due to an illness at the age of 98 moons. It sucks seeing one of our clan founders go, and it makes me nervous for our remaining ones. As for her death, there was a sickness in camp that she immediately recognized as dangerous, and took it upon herself to quarantine and stay with the patient a distance away from the clan. She strictly ordered her apprentice Laketree to stay away from the camp, to stay away in the camp, and to send any cats with signs of the sickness to them. She didn't mean to be harsh, but she did not want to risk mass casualties. Unfortunately, she caught the sickness and died, doing her duty as a medicine cat until the very end. Now she walks in the stars with her former apprentice, Squirrelpaw. And these are the new cats in StarClan this year. So let's just move on to the rest of the clan. Starting with Sandstar, who is now 146 moons old. And this year has been pretty hard on him. While the battle was won against Creek Clan, it resulted in Cricket Flower's death. And not really any closure on Dust Cloud. As this year went on, there was another border skirmish with Creek Clan, and his own deputy was involved. His mind seems to be wandering more, and he hasn't been making the best decisions. We'll get to that when we get to certain mentors and apprentices. He was also horrified to hear as rumors and StarClan messages spread around the clan about the fact Duskcloud's murderer was a cat in his own clan, which was news he did not take well, and he did eventually find out who it was. Towards the very end of the year, he called a clan meeting and exposed Stoneleaf as the true killer. He ordered that Stoneleaf would not be exiled or hurt and instead to be kept prisoner in the camp. He declared Stoneleaf's fate would be up to StarClan, much to the anger of some of his more vocal clanmates. Overall, Sandstar seems very tired and lost lately. He seems like he may be losing control of his clan. Moving on to our deputy, Burdockfoot is now 99 moons old and once again has faced tragedy this year. She cannot catch a break. She lost her son in the battle that was supposed to avenge her mate's death. She found out which cat had killed Cricket Flower and ended up attacking her with her daughter Shrewpatch's help during a border patrol, Ravenspot having to break it up. As Burdockfoot yelled at Brokentail for killing her son, Brokentail yelled back that Cricket Flower caused her dad's death, which Burdockfoot just angrily walked away over. Sandstar gave her a lecture for her rashness and said if she started a battle again without permission, he would demote her. She was also devastated to hear the truth about Stoneleaf, yelling at him to tell her why. Why did he do it? She both felt angry at him and disappointed in herself, thinking she somehow failed him. After all, she had known Stoneleaf since he was an apprentice age, and the clan was just starting. She taught him skills and felt like he was truly, part of her family. This year was not all bad, however, because she has made up with Whiskerheart, and they're actually on good terms. And Burdockfoot is now a grandmother. But you'll see that later. On to our now only medicine cat, Laketree, who is 34 moons old and very sad over her mentor's death. Despite doing exactly what Poppy Wish had told her, she blames herself for not doing more. While she is grateful for the lack of a large outbreak and keeps her composure for the sake of her duties, she is grieving pretty badly on the inside. Her family has been doing her best to support her brother Twigclaw in particular, being by her side despite being very busy himself with things that he's up to. She is also thinking about how being the only medicine cat is dangerous and is considering taking on an apprentice, even though she doesn't quite feel ready to train someone. She had also helped try to uncover the truth of Duskcloud's death. After getting a hint towards the killer, she sought guidance from Duskcloud's spirit himself for confirmation. And yeah, that's Laketree for this year, not doing the best. Let's move on to our warriors, starting with our oldest one, Whiskerheart, who is now 116 moons old. And I'm not ready to see this girl retire, but I am happy to say she had a relatively good year despite the circumstances. She was useful in the battle and managed to make up with Burdockfoot. And back to talking to my battle generator, I'm just going to say there was a few ways that could have gone for Whiskerheart, and this was the best option. Just to list some of the other possibilities, I already mentioned Cricket Flower could have secretly killed her, But she also could have sacrificed herself saving either Burdockfoot or Cricket Flower, or Burdockfoot could have still decided not to like her despite her help in the battle. So we're living in the good timeline, at least for Whiskerheart. I wanted to add things that would be relatable to what was happening in the clans of the generator, so I hope you don't mind me adding in little possible plot things. And before his actions came to light, Stoneleaf had actually gone and taken her aside and apologized for causing the rumors that had hurt her in the first place, saying he was just jealous of her position and thought Burdockfoot was better and he wanted the position as well. And she told him it was okay, but this confession combined to his anxious actions lately made her a little suspicious, so she had given a tip to the medicine cats. And after they confirmed her suspicions, she had a secret meeting with Sandstar to tell him, and together they put together his punishment. They both did not want to contribute to more bloodshed, but Sandstar luckily did not mention Whiskerheart was aware of this, so Burdockfoot is none the wiser and is not any angry at her. But yeah, here's our girl. She's almost ready to relax and retire soon. She's had a tough life. Next up is Bat, who is now 107 moons old and is actually a father. That's right, we have odd bat kittens. We'll get to them later in the nursery. And while Bat is a great father, he hasn't really been pulling his weight around the clan. Not only running away uninjured in the battle against Creek Clan, but also failing hunts and overall not being that good at clan life. He also got a tear in his ear from a fox. He may be charismatic, but I think he's been used to sort of swindling his way into having others take care of him for most of his life, and has never actually had to do the hard stuff himself. Though I will say he legitimately loves Odd, and I think Odd knew he was a sweet talker from the start and probably just teases him about it. I've also decided that Bat does not believe in StarClan based on things that have happened, which has caused some tension between him and some of the other cats. And also, for some reason, Sandstar gave him an apprentice, but we'll get to him later. Next up is Aspen Runner, who is now 90 moons old and is a very happy grandmother as well. She spoils that kitten rotten and has returned to the nursery as a partial queen to help out now that there's kits again. The kits all love her and she happily keeps them company while their mothers need rest. She has also been a loving, supportive pillar for grieving clanmates, including her daughter as well as Burdockfoot, who she bonded with now that they both are grandmas. She still patrols a bit, but she stays in camp most days unless needed. As long as kids are in the nursery, she would much rather be helping there. She's also been helping out a bit more in the medicine cat den now that Lake Tree is on her own. And next up is Blue Light, who is now 84 moons old. A lot of his clanmates really like him, especially after his assist in the battle. He's always there to rush in and provide help when needed. Whether that's in battle, repairing dens, helping with apprentice training, or even helping Aspen Runner when she babysits the kids. He doesn't really have plans to become deputy or anything like that, but he really enjoys the hustle and bustle of clan life and feels this provides him a sense of purpose and adventure that he was missing in his kitty pet life, which he found really dull. He's also determined to work extra hard on patrols now that Stoneleaf has been exposed. He only knew the Tom for about a year, but he knows some cats here knew him for many more moons, and is doing anything he can to lighten up their workload as they sort out their feelings. Next up, let's talk about Cinderpetal, who is now 52 moons old. This year was a roller coaster of emotions for this poor boy. First, he was so excited to win the Creek Clan battle, and for a bit, him and Stoneleaf were actually praised for their bravery. He also had worked up the courage to ask Stoneleaf to be his mate this year, which Stoneleaf agreed to. Cinderpetal knew something was bugging him this year, and as it went on, he did his best to see how he could help, but Stoneleaf was mostly just jumpy and snappy and standoffish whenever the topic was brought up. He had thought this was just about apprentices and things like that, but when the truth was revealed, Cinderpetal was stunned and heartbroken. He broke up with Stoneleaf and wanted to be alone. But Ravenspot didn't let him be alone and provided support in this hard time. Cinderpetal was always a little jealous of him since they were both kits when the clan was founded. Side note, they were the same age and probably brothers. I said no one was related in the beginning to avoid any accidental incest in future generations, but I don't think that'll be an issue at this point, so just assume that Cinderpetal and Ravenspot are siblings, and Aspen, Lily, and Squirrelpaw were siblings as well. But back to Cinderpetal's feelings. Ravenspot was apprenticed to the leader and had grown much bigger than him, so he always felt like it was a bit of a competition, but over time he enjoyed more his friendly rivalry he had with Stoneleaf instead of his more jealousy-based one towards Ravenspot. He was also jealous of the fact that Ravenspot was able to find love and have a family, while Cinderpetal feels life is against him. Ravenspot refused to let him be alone and let him vent all of this to him and get his emotions out, letting him just get all his anger out. And as for Ravenspot, him and Aspen Lily are actually parents now. And on the same moon they had kits, the time skip thing gave me the answer as to how they had kits, because Ravenspot got an eye scar due to a hawk during that same moon. And small blood warning for an image in the corner, so look away if you don't want to see it. I'll tell you when it's gone. But what happened was, while on patrol, Ravenspot spotted a hawk and at the last second realized it was about to attack abandoned kittens. He quickly ran to protect them, gaining the eye scar, as well as 2 sons. And the picture is gone. I also started randomizing the side scars they're on now for variety's sake. Aspen Lily was so excited to finally have a family and spoiled his babies. And while he was concerned about Ravenspot's injury at first, now that it's healed, he finds it amusing that they now have matching eye scars but on different eyes. He is very proud of how brave his mate is and thanks StarClan for this gift of a family. Overall, while the clan is in distress, these two are doing relatively okay. They are very excited to see their sons grow up. Next up is the 34-moon-old Twigclaw, who is now also a father. After Cricket Flower's death in battle, Hopwhisker tried to push everyone away, but Twigclaw was able to melt her coldness and make her laugh. And after that, they ended up getting together and having a kit, just one single kit, who Twigclaw was very emotional seeing. We'll talk more about them in a bit, though. Twigclaw was also the first domino in finding out the truth of Dustcloud's death. He had gotten a visit from Kendra in his dreams, where she told him the true killer was a cat in the clan. He immediately told his medicine cat sister, who told him to let the medicine cats and leader handle it, so he could focus on his new forming family. I'm also happy to say he has not gained any new scars this year. Honestly, I love Twigclaw, and he has Labrador energy despite being a cat, if that makes sense to anyone. Next up is the 28-moon-old Shrewpatch, who is very angry lately. She and her mom had instigated that border skirmish earlier in the year, and while Burdogfoot reluctantly accepted that this was a bad thing to do, Shrewpatch was just angrier. Sansar had actually given her an apprentice, and there were whispers that others deserved one instead. She did her best and is a great teacher, but she doesn't have patience lately due to everything going on. She's been snappy overall and got into a fight with her sister even, claiming she moved on from her father and brother's death way too fast and seems ready to leave everyone behind and run off with her new mate. Overall, Shrewpatch is angry and lashing out because she has all these emotions. She's saying things she doesn't necessarily believe due to being afraid of abandonment. Stoneleaf's reveal made her feel that no one can be trusted and everyone is against her. I hope she's able to do better in the future. But for now, let's move on to our apprentices, who we'll talk about together. Hazelpaw and Tawnypaw are the sons of Aspen Lily and Ravenspot, and they are 10 moons old. Starting with Hazelpaw, he is childish and apprenticed to Shrewpatch. And on their first day out, they actually ran into a 2-leg object, and I like to imagine it was another soda that Shrewpatch blocked him from drinking like she did when she was an apprentice. Shrewpatch has been spending less time with him now that Stoneleaf has been revealed, and Hazelpaw is annoyed. He knows she's grieving and upset, but they're both bratty in different ways, and most times they're together, they usually banter. Overall, Shrewpatch has not been the best influence or guide in Hazelpaw's life. On Tawnypaw's side, he is faithful and apprenticed the StarClan Denier Bat, so they have had plenty of their own difficulties, but Tawnypaw is patient. I imagine Tawnypaw gained sort of a strong faith, believing StarClan guided Ravenspot into finding them as kids. And it's thanks to that they're alive and here now. Despite almost being done training, Tawnypaw actually has been wanting to potentially be a medicine cat, but he feels it's too late now to switch, and he is biting his tongue, but he feels like he's really on the wrong path. He is also often subjected to having to listen to Hazelpaw complaining to him about anything that's annoying him, which is usually Shrewpatch. Now onto the nursery. Let's start with the 28-moon-old Hopwhisker and her single daughter, Palekit, who's 2 moons old. I already touched on how Hopwhisker had been doing throughout the video, so I won't go too much into detail beyond she's happy with her family and annoyed at her immature sister. Now, onto her daughter. I want to point out that this is the first grandchild in the clan's history. She also inherited some of Dustcloud's brown coloring, being the first in his family line to actually have it since none of his own kids were dusty brown. She also has blue eyes like him too, but that's more likely to be from her dad, Twigclaw. So not only is she an only child, she also reminds everyone of someone they miss. So she is spoiled by her mom, her dad, and both her grandparents a lot. There's not too much to say since she's young, but I'm excited to see her grow up. Moving on to the next queen. The 114-moon-old Odd is also in the nursery with her 2-moon-old sons, Emberkit and Otterkit. Odd really just snuck in towards the very end of her aging and said, I'm gonna have kits before I turn into an elder. Good for her. And real quick, Otterkit, was Otterkit her being funny because it sounds like she's saying Odd-er-kit, and this is her way of making a junior situation? Or if you remember last year, the leader of another clan right now is the playful Otterstar, who looks a lot like Otterkit, but he has green eyes. So did she name him after Otterstar? Do you think they have history? Odd is once again being an agent of chaos. Let me know what you guys think. I was pleasantly surprised to see her have kits, especially due to her age. She also had them in the same moon that Hopwhisker had Palekit. Again, kits don't really have a lot going for them, but I will say Otterkit is all white with blue eyes. So I asked in a community post, and based on your responses, I've decided he is deaf in one ear and hard of hearing in the other. And don't worry, I'm not forcing him into the medicine den or anything like that. I'm fully intending on letting him be a warrior. Enough of that ableism in Warrior Cat's canon books. I also thought it would be funny if I gave him his dad's huge ears. His brother Emberkit is also very cute, and I'm excited to see these Oddbat kids grow up. I'm wondering if they'll be as strange as their parents. I'm going to be sad to see Odd retire soon, but she has been a blast with all of her shenanigans. And next up, our elders are the 140-moon-old Buzzard Daisy and the 144-moon-old Ridge. Buzzard Daisy ran into some fox trouble during what I assume was one of their stubborn ventures outside the clan, and Poppywish had lectured him to be more careful after this. Due to this scare, him and Ridge have been spending more time in camp, actually letting themselves be elders. Buzzard Daisy has been pretty grumpy after his accident, and Ridge just calls him a stubborn fuzzball. Despite her aching joints, Ridge loves to spend time with the kids, and likes to tell Palekit in particular stories about when her father Twigclaw was her apprentice. Both elders were shocked to hear about Stoneleaf, and are a bit uneasy having him in the clan as a prisoner. I bet you're wondering why I skipped him during the lineup. Well, it's time to finally get to him. I left this for the end for a very important reason. He's actually dead and in the Dark Forest. One moon after Sandstar announced that his fate would be up to StarClan, he caught the illness I mentioned that killed Poppywish, and he died. He was the only sick cat, and despite his horrible actions, Poppywish could not stand by and let a cat die despite who it was. So she quarantined them, and in the end, they both died to this illness. I decided to have Stoneleaf go to the Dark Forest due to the fact he murdered Duskcloud, as well as the Creek Clan warrior Kenny. He let the clan go to battle over his actions, which led to Cricket Feather's death. And while he seemed to be regretting his actions at times, he also seemed cold at other times. I'd also like to point out that there's not too many Galaxy clans in StarClan, and Duskcloud, Yellowbush, and Cricket Feather would have definitely chased him off if he showed up. I also take the fact that immediately after I decided StarClan was going to have the final say in his fate, he died to add to the decision that he went to the Dark Forest. Him and Poppywish dying was like the last thing to happen this year. Stoneleaf accepts this fate but wishes he wasn't so stupid. In the end, he never got an apprentice and is very bitter towards Sandstar. He does, however, feel bad dragging Cinderpetal into his life, knowing it could only have ended badly. But as of now, Stoneleaf is our first Dark Forest cat, and we lost another founder of GalaxyClan. And that was year 4, overall a very high-tension year. While we lost free cats, there are also many new kits. I've also been looking at the cats in the clan who have apprentices before, and trying to decide on who Burdockfoot would potentially choose as the new deputy if she ends up becoming leader. Or if another deputy is needed to be chosen in general, but I'm rooting for a future Burdock star because I'm biased. Let me know what you guys think are good deputy choices, but yeah, thank you for watching. Hope this video wasn't too long. If you enjoyed and haven't already, I'd appreciate if you could like, subscribe, and check out some of my other content. My socials are linked below, and my commissions are open if you'd like to support me that way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!